third-party Transformers review, and today we're going to be taking a look at SR-71 Blackbird and X-47 Phantom Ray. Blackbird, Phantom Ray. Now this is the third piece of the TFC Superion set. Obviously it is Silverbolt and the chest piece, technically. So it's pretty cool. I like this. There's a lot of people who kind of don't like it because he is an SR-71 and he's white, and they're always black. I don't care. I kind of like it how it is. Doesn't bother me very much. Makes about as much sense as Silverbolt having been a Concorde in the first place, which is another thing people complain about. But I love the fact that he's with a set of military jets, and instead of being a Concorde, he is a, pretty much a non-combat observation jet. So I really like that detail, and I think that that's well done. Now you can see that our Phantom Ray can actually sit on the top of Blackbird like this. I keep wanting to say Black Bolt, so if I do say that, I apologize, but the whole Marvel thing and the BB abbreviation people use keeps making me think Black Bolt. So yeah, he sits there, he plugs into the top, so he's not going to go anywhere. One thing I wanted to point out is that the instructions tell you to put the landing gear this way, so the wheels are pointed out. At least I'm pretty sure they told you to do that. If they don't, then I'm not sure where I'm making that up. But the first time I put him like this, you can see he just kind of flops backwards. So you really need to put it the other way around. Otherwise, he's just gonna flop. There we go. Yeah, so once he's like that, he sits just fine. Of course, you still have the opening cockpit. Now, this cockpit was all translucent yellow. You'll see from the inside here that it's just a yellow piece. I painted the white on because I really didn't like that yellow clear cockpit, because it's not like a fighter jet with the big clear cockpit. The SR-71 only has a number of windows, so painted that myself. I don't really like painting white. It's really hard to do. Megatron 31 of TFW is supposed to be making a white one, apparently. Sometime. I know he's moving right now, so that should be pretty cool to get a white cockpit and then paint the windows myself, which will be a lot easier to do. No real detailing in the cockpit, the two little seats, just like a real SR-71, just two seats. And yeah, so that's about it for our SR-71. Give you a nice, boy, it's hard to get all in frame here. Nice top view here, so you can see everything. Now from the bottom, you do see a lot of robot. And that is another complaint that some people have, is that, he's basically doing robo-yoga. But in this alt mode, it's really hard to make him not do robo-yoga. For instance, for a size comparison, I've also got our Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire, who's also an SR-71, and he is much bigger than Blackbird by at least a couple inches here. I just wanted to show you here, which is kind of interesting because from underneath he folds up fairly similarly in terms of how things are placed. So yeah, there's not a whole ton you can do here. Now, I've also got the Universe Silverbolt, who is more of some kind of transport supersonic jet type thing. And again, you got the robot mode just pretty present underneath. So, I don't know, for the types of planes that he would be, it'd be really hard to make him not have any robot mode showing. I know there's a couple with a box underneath, but then I feel like people would complain about the box basically being a shell to hide all his parts, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. I've also got, let me bring this on up so we can get a better view here. Here he is next to Phantom, just to show the size. And he's hard to get in the screen here. Probably should have put the wide angle lens on, but too late now, right? And here he is next to Air Raid. So you get a feeling of the size. So let's actually take a look at our little Phantom Ray here first. And there you go. Nice little jet. Looks pretty close to what the Phantom Ray looks like. The Phantom Ray is a unmanned aerial vehicle, so from pictures I could see, this is not actually a cockpit, but more of like an intake, but I guess TFC is saying that it's a cockpit. It looks kind of like a cockpit. From underneath, pretty clean. To transform him is pretty simple. I'm not going to show you the chest mode transformation just because I modded mine and I don't need that. So what you're going to do is start by unplugging his arms like so. Then swivel his legs. Swivel the ball joints so they're lined up properly. Like that. Then we can take these little side flaps and flip them on out. And then rotate his feet out here. Like so. You can see he's pretty much coming together. We can now take these wings and bring them back like this. And then when you basically hinge them at the elbow, that's his arms. And then just take this and flip it down. And there you got the little Phantom Ray in robot mode. He's okay, he's kind of fiddly. He feels like, I don't know, he's kind of like a Legends upscaled to a Commander sized Legends. Nothing real fancy. Fists are just kind of molded in. He's not going to be holding anything. He's not really going to be doing any great poses. He can kind of pull a Cosmos, I guess. So, he's okay. I don't really like him. He may be your thing, but he's not mine. So before we get him to his robot mode, I just wanted to show you the other accessory he comes with in the box is this little handle. And the front part of this airplane actually becomes Silverbolt's and Superion's gun. And this is the handle to attach this so Superion's big hand here can actually hold it. Now I don't think there's any place to store this on here. I haven't been able to find any place. So I just kind of store it just like I do the hand. And I just leave it plugged in. And pretty much it will stay there until he's back in his combined form. So let's actually get this guy transformed. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to show you the reverse transformation too, just because there's a couple little tricks here. But the first thing you're going to do is unpeg these tabs here and then pull this on out. And you can see the gun's already kind of forming here. And what you do is take these and bring them to the back, kind of rotate these guns to however you really like it. I've been unable to really find a way that I like these little guns hanging out on the back. I guess like this looks okay. It just feels a little bit big. And then you got the little peg down here for him to hold it. And you could give two kind of different guns, I guess, whether you have this extended or not for Silverbolt and Superion. But yep, that is the gun. We'll put that aside. Now we get to undo the Robo Yoga. Now keep in mind my steps are going to be a slight bit different just because of the mod that I did. If you're not familiar with it, just check my last video and you'll see it. So first thing we're going to do is unpeg the thrusters here, and that'll free up the legs. So what we're going to do is just kind of rotate these on down, like so, and then rotate this whole piece down. So free it up, and rotate it on down. And we'll get to straightening these on out in a minute. Now we'll come here and kind of unpeg the sides of these thrusters, and what this is going to let us do, first off, these thrusters are on a mechanism that allows them to pull out here and kind of rotate around stuff. You can actually take them right on off if you don't like how they look, but what we're doing with that is to unpeg this bottom part of the plane, and we're going to just flip that on up, and we'll take this little top piece and plug it on in like so. Now what I like to do is fold these pieces on in, and I think the thrusters look best if you push them all back in and then just kind of up like so. And you can kind of do what you want with the wings. I just kind of keep them on the back like this. Now there's no plug-in here, you're just kind of relying on your positioning and a little bit of friction to hold them in place. But once we do that, that's going to free it up so we can actually rotate his waist on around. And you have to be careful here because the panels on his waist like to catch these corner pieces on the back of the plane. So you just kind of have to move them out of the way. But we want the crotch facing forward like this, and then we'll take his legs and rotate him around so he has proper knees, and then rotate his lower leg. Now we're going to take these little red panels and flip them on up, and plug them in like that, just so you can see the difference. Again, I'll do it again, kind of flip it up, and then there's a little tab in there and a slot inside just to plug them in. And then take his foot, rotate it on down, and now we've got his feet done. Now we're going to come back to the top here and move this up, unpeg these, rotate them around like so, and then we'll drop his arms like that. Whoops, keep going. And we'll bring out his fists here. Actually, now I had it right this time, just because of how the elbow is. Now you'll see that Energon style connector there kind of hanging out, and that's how you'll know it's the right way, and we'll get to that in a minute. So open this on up, pull out his other fist like that, and then we'll just put these little side head flaps down to fill in these gaps a little bit. Nice little touch. Flip his head around, and then we will just make his chest here, and there we go. We've got Blackbird / Silverbolt in his robot mode, and of course you can give him his gun. It just pegs right into his hand. 5mm clip, standard, same old, same old. I don't particularly like this big gun on him. It might look better on Superion, but not a huge fan of it. I'm just gonna take it off. You've seen enough of it. So there we go. Here he is in his robot mode. He does look a little bit thick in the chest, mostly because of how he needs to for Superion. The head is on a ball joint. You got nice range of motion on it. Can't look too far up, but it's good enough. The shoulders are on kind of a double swivel because of the transformation. You can kind of make them shrug, but you've also got the 90-degree here, a rotation at the bicep, the elbow. Now, like I said, the elbow is weird because the Energon connector is there. So when you bend it up and you bend it back, they tend to just kind of stay. So you kind of have to hold that as a single unit. You got the wrist rotation. Of course, you saw he has a waist due to transformation. This armor kind of moves out of the way. He does have standard heavy labor style ratchets down here, but certainly learned from heavy labor because they don't feel like they're going to wear out. Nice knee, technically a double knee because of the upper knee swivel, so you can kind of make use of whichever one you think is better. I think the upper knee is your better option just because the red armor hides a lot of it. And then you got some toe rotation down here. Now, like I said, you can take these thrusters off, position them however you want. Let's just pull them off just so you can see what it looks like without. I feel he looks very tiny now. Not really tiny is the word, but he doesn't look as big and bulky as he was. So that may be something that you like if you want it that way, and you can fold things in more without it. But I just leave the thrusters on. So for some comparisons here, we'll start off with the obvious one, which is the Universe Silverbolt. And you can see Universe Silverbolt does stand a little bit taller than him and has the plane sticking straight up off the back. I don't know any way to store the gun if you wanted to put this on him somehow. I'm sure there's probably something you could do, but I haven't really tried. But yeah, so there's Universe Silverbolt. Universe Silverbolt does have a slightly more animation accurate head, but I really don't mind TFC's. I don't think it's that bad. And once it gets the blue light piping in it, I think that'll look really nice. He does have some very good light piping there, as you can see. And speaking of blue light piping, let's bring in the rest of his team. Here is Air Raid. And you can see I've got the blue light piping in him now, thanks to Megatron 31 of TFW. Can't wait till I get it for him. And here's Fireflight, also with the blue light piping. And I just think that that makes a huge difference, the blue light piping. And we might as well bring in X-Ray because he is the team mascot, or you know what, he's part of the aerial bots in my world, but he's just not part of Superion. So for sake of completeness, I figured I probably should show you his chest shield mode. So what you're going to start by doing is rotating these back. And this is going to be showing exactly why I dislike his chest shield mode. Because nothing clips in properly. So you take that, and then you take these panels and you kind of flip them around, and this is, you can see, kind of making that chest shield here, like so. And then what you're going to do is fold these on down, and you have to split his legs here underneath. And this part, I'm never quite sure exactly how it goes. But you got this, and then once it's like that, you kind of take these down and you just kind of split them like this. Now these two pegs here are going to be what pegs in the Superion, so these will be easy to position because you'll hold them, they'll be held in place at whatever angle. The problem is that all this stuff is just all floppy and it's a big mess, and when you try to move his arms around, things don't stay looking very nice. And this is only with one arm on him as I was messing with it. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of Phantom Ray as a chest shield, but there you go, there's the chest shield, and we'll address kind of where that goes once we get here. So let's actually take a look at Blackbird himself, or Silverbolt, and let's get him transformed. Now again, recalling I have the chest mod, I want to show you that what ultimately would happen here is that this would actually drop down. It should be up and it would drop down. Mine is now set to do the opposite, and you can see this peg right here, that is where this crotch hole right here of X-Ray would peg onto. Now this snapped on mine, this little peg, and I'm pretty sure most of it is because I was trying to figure out what holes these feet went in, and I was moving it on around, and then at a later point in time it just fell off. So be careful with that. I'm going to show you which pegs it actually goes into in a minute. So what we're going to start by doing here is rotating his head around like this. I don't think you really have to, but I like to do it. Take these flaps and pull them on up, like so. Now you're going to take these on in, and if you look at the pegs, this one on the outside is longer than the one on the inside. So you kind of pull the plastic back just a little, and that's going to let you actually peg this guy on in. And then what you're going to do, well, let's put the fists away first on each side here. Like so. Then just kind of take this and fold this on down and fold this on down like that. Now you're going to take this black piece and bring this up, and that's going to peg onto those extending pieces. Now it looks like, let me zoom in here, it looks like these are your holes that your X-ray is going to plug into, but no, it's actually these holes down here. And yeah, definitely was moving X-ray around trying to figure that out without thinking about this, and then it just snapped off. So be careful. So normally when you put this down, this will actually go fold down, and what you're gonna do is you actually have to twist his legs backwards so that the screw side is facing forward and the red plate will basically cover it. But with the chest mod, we're not going to do that, and we're going to leave his standard crotch plate showing here, like that. So now, what we'll also do is we'll take this and we'll fold this on up, and fold this on down. If I can get it to unpeg, there we go. Like that. And we're going to take this lower part of the leg and swivel this on around and up like this. And you'll see that expose the energon connector. And again, just the, well, unpeg the red piece. Fold it on down. Fold his foot on in. Rotate this, swing it on up, energon connector. And there we pretty much have him in his torso mode. The last thing you're going to do, and this is prior to pegging this in, I should have mentioned that, this is another reason that this chest mod is handy, because when this is in the regular position, it's really hard. Think of it this way. This is the upward position, so when you kind of rotate it down, you don't have much clearance to open this door. Once you do the chest mod and can actually rotate it up, you can rotate this down all the way, which makes it much easier to get at the Superion head inside, which does have a little bit of a tab. I recommend doing it upside down here just because the way his antenna things are molded in here, they like to catch. So you take that out like this, and we'll extend that. Yeah. And then just bring this down, and I was wrong. Your Silverbolt head does need to be forward for this. Gotta unpeg everything now. I forgot he has the little hole on his head to receive the tab here. Okay, let's put everything back. Like so. Alright, now we can take that up and it'll actually tab into the top of the Silverbolt head just for a little bit of extra security. And now we'll take this up and we'll peg this black piece in for even more security of components. And then my chest shield comes up, yours will stay down, and you'll peg X-ray on. And there you go, you have him in his torso mode. Now, I personally think the modified version looks better. Your mileage may vary. Some people say he looks way too skinny in the torso. I don't really mind it so much. Again, just to show you with the thrusters off, that's kind of what you're working with there. He is, I guess, a bit skinny if you don't have the thrusters on, but that's fine with me. The head here, I forgot to do one thing. So we can also take these and lift them up, and that's actually the proper transformation. Head's okay. I am kind of torn. I think I might want to black out his mouth there. And you can see in the top above his eyes he's got these amber type things. What that is if you get a finger in there, there's a little tiny tab, and you'll actually slide down his visor. Now the only thing that would have been nicer is if that visor was not transparent so you can't see his eyes through it. It looks a little bit off, but not too bad. And I really think that he's going to be a awesome looking robot once he's all combined with everybody else. So I am going to go ahead and get him back to his robot mode, and I'll show you the final transformation into vehicle again. Actually, before we do vehicle mode, there's one thing I wanted to show you that can be a little bit tricky here. When you are turning him back from Superion mode to just a regular Silverbolt Blackbird, there's this little hole in this plate, and the little finger tab here that you are grabbing, you kind of need to orient the head just right so it actually goes through the hole before you close it all up. Otherwise it's not going to work. So I just kind of wanted to show you that real fast. Okay, so here we have Blackbird / Silverbolt back in his robot mode. Before we go to vehicle mode, I just wanted to show you that you can have these elbows the other way. There's nothing wrong with it. He still has a pretty full range of movement. I personally like it the other way around without the red at the top, just because I don't like the energon ports showing out the back like that, but that is an option, and it actually may be the proper way just because you have pieces showing like that, but I prefer to have him with the energon ports forward just because I feel like it's easier to keep them regulated when you're posing him, posing him in all the different ways that you want. So to transform him back to his vehicle mode, what we're going to start by doing is kind of moving all this stuff back here out of the way just so we can see his waist here, because I think that that's a good thing to start with. And we'll rotate it again. Watch those little panels, help them get through like so. And then what we're going to do is we'll come to the top here. This one, if you want, you can rotate his head, and I forgot to put his little side panels back down, so we'll just leave them up. Now this time what we're gonna do is take these arms, rotate it like this so you have the shoulder movement towards his head, and we'll go ahead and we'll put his fists back in here. Now it took me a while the first time I transformed him to realize this next step that we're gonna do, just because it's not very intuitive. So when you bring this on up, your natural response is going to be to try to get these to peg in. They do not. There is nothing you can do to peg that in, so don't keep trying. So it's going to look like that, and these are going to sit right outside the peg holes there. I tried, and you don't need to. It doesn't do anything. It's not supposed to peg, so just leave it. Don't bother. And take it, and just plug in the tops of his arms here. And I don't like his head looking down at me, so I'm going to turn that around before we do anything. There we go. Like that. And we'll bring his little chest flaps here, and we might as well bring the landing gear on out appropriately right now. Then it's a matter of getting to his legs here. So what we're going to start by doing is, again, like we were going the torso, we're going to unpeg the red piece here twice and fold it on down. We'll rotate his little foot on around and rotate that down like this. And we'll do that for the other side here too. The tab inside on this little hinge actually grips this red piece really, really nice. There we go, like that. Now, I always have trouble remembering this part. So what you're going to do is turn it so these basically mini-com ports are on the sides like this. And what we're going to do is actually rotate his legs so it looks kind of like that, and we'll fold this on in to itself, and your combiner port's probably going to come out, but you can just rotate that back on in. So it'll look like this, and we'll get the final placement of that after. We just want it to kind of look like that. So again, rotate this on up and around like so. Oops, my knee is wrong. What's going on here? What am I not seeing? Like this, that's why. Now it's throwing me for a curveball here. There we go. Now it's looking right. There, like that. So he's basically making a W with his legs, and you'll find that that should allow it to peg into the thrusters here once we're done with that. So we'll take these thrusters, and I like to pull them out a little just so we have room to work with. We'll bring this back piece down, make sure your flaps are out, and it will fold and peg into the backside of Blackbird. I did it once. I did pretty good this review, I gotta say. Take these, fold these on in, and they will peg onto these flaps on each side, like so. Whoops. Try that again with my more useful hand. And then you'll basically take these and just plug them into the thrusters at the bottom side. This side already almost did. Kind of rearrange your wings, and then you can kind of rotate these a little how you see fit just to make them squared up if you want. So now we are on to the last part, which is his gun here. We'll just take that, and we already have the thing folded in just because I think that looks personally better for Silverbolt. Rotate the handle in, take these down and around to the front here. So we arm our SR-71, and then what we'll do is we'll plug this in here first. It just plugs into the barrel of the gun. And as you come down, you should find that the tabs again meet with the arms. And then all that's left in this case is his landing gear. And there we go. We have Blackbird / Silverbolt back into his jet mode. So I know that it's been a lengthy review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. And I will see you guys next week. Alright guys, just before we go real quick, I wanted to show one more thing I realized. Keeping with the creative markings on the tail fins, we got AG601T with the lightning bolt. AG being the periodic table for silver, and 601T being the quote-unquote leet speak for bolt. Means we've got Silverbolt written on his tail fin. I love that. I love that they do these little things. So anyway guys, that was just something that I just noticed now and wanted to share. So I will see you guys next week.